I'll be going through the answers quickly, so make sure your course book is open in front of you, and please stop and rewind the video as you need to. So, got your book open in front of you? Are your answers in capitals? Want to know why the answers are the answers? Then let's go. For question number 1, we're talking about actors. Now, actors or actresses act as particular people, or they play the roles or parts of other people. So here the answer is play. For question number 2, we've got to choose a noun, an answer that does two things. First of all, we've got to choose an answer that collocates with the adjective before the gap, and secondly, we've got to choose the correct collective noun for the noun which follows the gap. And there's only one answer that does both of those things, and the answer is D, number. For question 3, context is key. We have to understand the text as meaning that we're talking about people who are unemployed, people who don't have a job. If that's the case, the only answer that we can choose to communicate that message and work with the language that we've got around the gap is A, out of work. Question number 4. Two ways to look at this question. First of all, you can have a look at the preposition which follows the gap, and if you do that, there's only one answer that collocates with the preposition that follows the gap. Secondly, we can have a look at the context, and the context means that people have to choose something else. In that case, the only answer that we can choose is D, people turn to other options. For question number 5, we have to choose the answer which forms part of the idiom as forms the idiom, which means that this is surprisingly large. The answer here is D, as many as. For question number 6, we're looking for the correct verb which collocates with the word that follows the gap. Now, if you've lost your job, if you've been fired or you've been sacked, then you have been made redundant, and that's why the answer is A. For question number 7, once again, as you're probably bored of me saying this over and over again, context is key. In the sentence before, or sentences before, we've talked about as many as 30 people filling in for various different roles. Here the context shifts to not needing that many people, but only one or few people. So we need the correct contrast linker. Now, there are two contrast linkers that we're given, however and although, but given the language structure that we're presented with, only one of those is correct. And if you're not sure about language structures, then I would ask you to go away now, have a look at the differences between however and although in a good grammar book or on the internet to work out which language structures you use those words in. In this particular case, the only answer is however. For question 8, once again, context allows us to understand what kind of work, what answer we need here. We're basically talking about someone who wants to have a conversation, I think, in this case. If someone wants to have something, then we can say that that person is in need of that thing. So here the answer is need.